Okay, we're recording.
Let's
So,
see what you.
do you have any questions or anything you want to talk about before we just jump in?
Just jump in and just see what comes in, where it goes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm never too sure what you're going to pick up.
No, either am I. Okay, I'm going in. Okay, I'm in.
What are you sensing and getting a focus on?
There are a variety of concepts and constructs arising and shifting. I'm not quite holding on to any one of these. This is similar to the hypnagogic state. However, it is more feeling based than visually based, although there are visuals to it. Let me just see where we're going. I'm just going deeper in the entire field is as a singular large wave. The wave is fluctuating.
Can you get into the wave and let it carry you anywhere?
Yes. This sensation is designed to help carry consciousness deeper inward.
Is this still just feeling? Or is there anything visuals or any sounds?
Main experience is one of being carried inward. There are always the audio and visual components of the ride. However, at the moment, I am opening to specifically channel, and so I am more focusing into the inward, the inwardly going energy. I'm almost there. I have a certain curiosity of how the transition will take place from situating myself in the position of medium to that of the position of deep trance channeling, of tuned trance telepathy, wherein the consciousness being tuned with becomes the one most forwardly speaking, and in part, this is what I am now being shown, what I am now experiencing, how to ride waves of energy deeper and deeper in as another wave of energy rides deeper and deeper in to the physical space.
Is this to allow for more direct channeling?
Please ask the question again.
Is this space to allow for a more direct channel to their beings to come through?
I am not understanding the question.
Is this a place where Casey goes and the being comes straight through the body,
This is
like a direct interaction?
this is accurate. We are even now the energy of switching spaces. Question, interest, or curiosity.
Have you connected with beings that are pushing forward more?
Connection point. It's the physical location.
And is there a particular being or beings wishing to come forward?
Indeed, there is an inwardly arriving energy, slowly coming forward, slowly, so as to allow the more complete experience on my part of the shift, the changing of spaces.
I'm just letting you drift in there without too much.
More you are able to engage, the more the opening for the channel to take place.
Are you getting us?
Please not just say this.
Do you get a sense of what's coming through? A particular being?
One moment, and I will look. This is OL.
As well, something more to show us? Or does they want to go back to where they left off last time with the ship?
The start point is your own curiosity, your own questions, concerns, interests. Begin where you will.
What was interesting was the contact with humans and perhaps experiments or projects that OL wanted to take part in with us.
Specific question, please.
What kind of experiment would this involve?
The combining of one level, as you would say, of consciousness with another level is akin to the combining of one DNA structure with another. The experimentation idea arises upon the platform of the result being an unknown. The consciousness The DNA being used is our own, with our representation, our representative on one field with that on another. Is there understanding?
There is this a unique strain of DNA from the mantis beings, considering that there are already DNA strains in the human genome from mantis beings. This would be completely unique.
The unique element of the experiment is to have this all take place within the conscious knowing of the individual.
Yeah, that would be interesting. What would be the requirements from the human's perspective to get involved with this experiment?
Please ask again your question.
What would be the requirements from the human end to take part in this experiment?
The requirement would be that of being able to hold consciously the information, the energy, the experience without detriment or decline to the physical systems. The one before you now, you have heard make mention of this previously. This information is information that has always been coming from ourselves.
Do you have experiments running with humans at the moment?
This experiment is running before your eyes.
So are you wishing to use Casey as your main conduit at the moment, linking to more of us here in this group?
This is a possibility, and even in one or more cases, a probability. It also exists a potential within the group of you as a whole.
Yeah,
Where
this I
the connection, there is an opening to affect not just the one, but the many.
this I feel would be an interesting way to go. I see there's much interest for these contacts and communications to go forward.
Indeed, there are many among you with this same interest and even elevated intent.
So this would require more of the group to be able to reach these states for that to go forward. And could you be of assistance to help us into these states?
Where there is the asking, the wanting, the true opening, there we will always come through. Often, amongst your species, there is the tendency to ask unknowingly, I am getting in the way of the sentence. They are expressing that we often ask for that which we really don't want. That we don't know what it means. What we ask for, we don't know what it means or might involve. And so here they would be able to come into effect only so much, only so far. But yes, they will come into effect as much as is allowed.
I'm very curious to what it takes. Although, like you say, I may not appreciate what I'm asking for, but definitely interested in the experience and to learn. And I'm sure members of the group are also curious and willing to come and learn.
Shall we ask what is required in your own case?
That was going to be the questions coming next, yep.
Question.
So, could you give information about yourselves and what it is that we would be starting to do?
Information about ourselves in what regard specifically?
Or what are you like? Do you find humans curious?
We find your ways curious. We find not quite the direct link you might think to the human species. It is an indirect link that is worked through, although we have realms in which we take effect. We are not actualized in environments in the same way as you know. We exist outside of space, as you know. We exist outside of time, as you know. We work through various levels of actualized incarnated individuals in order to reach the space in which you exist, in which you find yourself existing.
So could we describe you as an energetic awareness, not particularly bound by anything, just
Unbound would be one way to conceptualize this. Unembodied would be another.
so you get to experience mass, space, and time via those that you link up with.
Via representations of ourself and more actualized realms. I can't quite get the rest of this sentence. They have to go through many layers to connect. I am being shown examples, but none are quite right and all are quite vague. Something along the line in a linear frame of reference as having to go through from California, having to go through Nevada, Arizona, Utah, etc. You get to the other side of the United States. Ready to wrap it up?
I thought you were still travelling through trying to get a grips what they were showing you.
Never.
So why do they use the mantis form when contacting them? Why that form?
This construction of the insectoid type being is among the first. Our consciousness moved into direct experience with
And are you a consciousness that's had to evolve from physical structures up the densities?
this experience is included in our template, the one before you now. The person you see before you now is one such example. all beings fundamentally move down through the dimensional structure. Only some move down into a physical existence, such as what you know. It is this depth of fractalization of consciousness that then experiences from its point the horizontal axis, the upward return is their understanding.
Yes, of what density would you describe yourself in your base form?
We would not.
No.
Your structures are devised for the level of your own intelligence and therefore can be brought to make sense to yourselves. We could use them in order to make reply to your question. However, from our observation, would include a level of inaccuracy as to be near meaningless. We are a singularity and in complete communion with oneness itself. There is no space and no time between self in any and all forms and formations, dimensions, are not a concept within this. We understand that from more narrow parameters, there is context between the width of your own and the whole. Comes to be a part of the picture. But this does not exist. We no longer have a very strong connection, James. There's too many gaps. Your curiosity is not strong enough. There are questions pending that are not being asked, and it is causing the energy to recede to a very large degree.
I need to formulate better questions.
Not better questions, your questions.
I'm trying to make sense of the questions in my mind to put them into words as a question. I've got a concepts in my mind. It's just I'm struggling to put it into words, to ask it.
So now you'll see, oh, that's pretty. Now you'll see as we meet more regularly that if you jump out of right here, right now, it doesn't work. You can't formulate questions in advance.
Well, my thinking is if OL is going to be a continuous contact, if this is something we can focus in on.
No.
No?
No. See, it's a preconceived notion or structure you're bringing into what we don't even know is going to happen. And so if you do that, there'll be this very large divide. But if you just bring yourself, just come, you come, and you naturally have certain curiosities. Okay? And like you never did ask the question, what do you have to do to open to the assistance of these beings? You said it was going to be the very next question, but then you never asked.
I get lost.
That and the waiting of you asking this with an answer ripe and ready for you.
Was it?
you went somewhere else. It was like you were trying too hard. It was like you came away from yourself to come up with something better when what you had was the best.
Was it? Yeah. Just lack of experience. I've never done that before. I'm just trying to.
Yeah, no, all of this is really new to me too. I'm only discovering as I'm doing this, I can see what will weaken and what strengthens the connection. And strengthens the connection. And what brings through the most is a very strong curiosity. So, if you have a really great interest in speaking with consciousness beyond our earth human consciousness, this strengthens the connection. If you have an interest not in mantis beings or these beings in particular, we don't have to find out everything about who they are. In fact, a lot of it's quite boring. Sorry.
It went beyond. It went beyond the mantis up into what it was. Like that singularity. That's was like wow. My mind was just flooding with stuff. What to ask that because it goes beyond the form. That's where I want to go up into that level. It's beyond all the forms. Just as
No, the idea isn't for us to go up out there, but to bring it through here so it can speak. And this being was saying it had to make connections to come through. And so, I got curious in that I was trying to look to see the closest connection to me, who it was connecting with to connect to me. So I was doing my own thing in there, and you were doing something completely different out here. And so the idea is to show up entirely naked. Okay, no conceived notions, nothing prepped or prepared other than perhaps, watching some of the other practices to see, how you might engage and move in there. But, that's just for when there's a moment where you don't know what to ask. You can say, oh, okay, and what are you being aware of now? You know what I mean? Having this list of things you can say when you run out of things to say or when you're at a stuck point. But always so you're the questioner here.
So I just bring my own questions, just for me personally, just ask it.
Yeah, you bring your own self. Now you have to be able to energetically connect with what's happening here to ask something that I'm going to be able to bring through by that which is connecting. But so you just have to feel the energy. Always be a little bit different. Always be a little bit different. Okay, you know what a good question is? A question that you actually have. It's not something super intelligent. It's just a question you actually do have. Yeah, and that's going to be really powerful. That's going to open a channel. That's going to bring somebody who wants to answer that question because you want to know. This is how you find out what work you have to do in order to have the experience you were getting curious about earlier. You want these beings to come through, but you don't understand what you're asking. And in order to know what you need to do to open to that experience happening, you have to connect with your central nervous system and know where the closures are. Know what work.
I'd rather just get it.
You think you can bypass the physical, and you can't. Right now, you are in a physical body. You can't bypass it. You are wanting to experience this while still in your body.
Yeah.
And so you can't bypass the body. If you want to
I prefer a shock. I prefer things just to come at me, and I wanna and just deal with it there on the spot. That's how I learn fast.
That's what I'm saying. It's just happened. Who is it? What are you experiencing? You need to learn how to use your imagination more and trust the very first thing that comes to you.
Well, that's the image that comes all the time. It's just the big giant, the big eye.
Mm-hmm. You need to get past that because so far that's all you can get.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's your closure. That's your limitation. And why can't you get past the eye? What is it that's afraid to go past the eye?
I don't know. If I think about it, you can just do it now. Just that's all comes into my mind.
I'm pushing.
Just that big eye looking at.
If you want to go further than what you've gone before, If you want them to come in further than you have let them come in before, you have to find out where you're closed down.
I think sometimes I think, am I just making that up? No, am I just kidding myself? Am I just made that picture? But that's probably where I get stuck.
Who cares if you are? If you have to make it up in order to get it going, then make it up and start getting it going. And pretty soon it's okay. Wow, that was pretty real. Okay,
Right.
but first you got to get it going. You're not letting yourself be the beginner. You're
Yeah.
starting to be the advanced guy from the get go. We're not. We're the
Does it
beginner.
work?
So we have to find out where the closures are.
Okay.
Yeah. What am I doing that's getting in the way? And one of the things you're doing is you're trying to bypass your physical system. And you can't bypass your physical system. Conscious experiences won't happen until your central nervous system can handle it. Right now, you have a central nervous system. You're wearing it. It's what you're experiencing your reality currently through. You can't leave it out. You can't say, fuck the central nervous system. I'm awareness and awareness only. Because you'll drop the body, meaning you'll die, and then you'll never get to have the experience you were trying to have. So, yeah, you can't bypass the experience you're trying.
I'm trying to
You're getting such a
come
tone.
back to it after. Okay.
Don't think I don't recognize this. We're sitting the first 20 years of my life, trying to do the very same thing. You know, do it.
So you got to. Okay.
Your central nervous system has to be able to hold that information and that energy.
So it's not to be too shocked by it. So you got to watch. You don't actually shock your system too much. Is that the problem?
You
Just
will.
shock it too much. Is that was it
You
causes it?
don't just shock it, you will injure it and bring it down and die it. Yeah, and your higher guidance won't let that happen, of course. So they'll only come through to the degree that the central nervous system can handle without harm to the central nervous system. Understand that the central nervous system is a system of consciousness cells. It's an
Mm,
entire community of beings, and you're damaging it
mm.
when you try to leave it out of the equation or bypass it or do it something regardless of the central nervous system, pushing yourself past the point of it being intelligent. um, yeah,
Mm.
that you're damaging a level of being. Yeah, the
I've
body.
done that before. That's how I got here.
Yeah.
I know just like to shock the system because my body was paralysed and everything that night. Paralysed, the whole thing shut down. Yeah.
The experience of a
Mm.
creator being standing in front of you absolutely would be paralyzing to the central nervous system. And so, yes, it's going to have to find a closer representative to you to come to you through, because that you could handle. You know, um, we'll only get the quotient of light and energy that our central nervous system can handle. Our consciousness can often handle much more, uh, but that doesn't matter. Right now, we're combining our consciousness with a central nervous system, a central nervous system of consciousness cells, an entire community of them, in order to have this experience. And so they're a part of the equation and cannot be bypassed.
So what did you do to do that? Because if you're like me, just zooming in there, what did you have to do to just to come back down to where you were, just to start again, rather than just trying to jump up? What did you have to do to do that?
Yeah, not just meditation, but pranayama and asana. I had to bring the body into it.
So it's a meditation just to focus into the body.
Care of the
Just
body. I had to start giving it enough water and giving it the right nutrition and learning about, what was happening in our world. So I knew, what, to eat, and what not to eat. And, all of that. I just had to start taking care of the vehicle.
Mhm.
And body postures. I had to start working with the body. I had to start, again, not just practicing meditation and pranayama, but asana, the body postures.
Mhm.
Opening the body, feeling where the tightnesses were in the body, stretching through those. So I literally had to enact opening the body.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then I
My
had to,
problem is I
then I
went
had to connect
past it.
with the body. Then I had to connect with the body. They are consciousness cells, and collectively they are a large consciousness. And I had to dialogue and communicate with them and get on the same page about, what we would do, what we could do together, if we worked together. It requires a communication. It's not what you think it is.
Mhm.
It's not.
No.
It's not me.
My problem is because I learned it because I learned it from the science perspective and into virtuality and simulation, the body became almost a meaningless thing. And I'm still struggling to come back to connect with that because it's still in my mind somewhat meaningless. That's why I don't connect with it so much. I'm just needing to change how I've learned that. Maybe I've learned it wrong, or I've took it the wrong way, perhaps. So I'm trying to bring myself back into recognizing it as anything. Do you know that way? It's how I learned it. My metaphors screwed me up a bit, I think.
It's consciousness, and it's not a consciousness that you're going to be allowed to damage.
Mm.
Period. It's like your child.
Right.
Yeah, it's another level consciousness from yourself, you know, but you have to care for it like it's your child. And some
Mm.
of us are here to help elevate it into the ascension,
It's weird.
like myself. So, because that I was here, that is what I, had to do.
Mm. I disregarded physical. I just disregarded it.
This,
I
uh,
just went to consciousness as just awareness. I don't put anything into it, you know.
this is consciousness. There is nothing that, okay, right now, look at you on the screen.
Uh-huh.
Consciousness, every bit of it, every bit of it, every bit of it, even the
See, I
visual,
understand it. See,
even,
to me, it's just a.
wait a minute, even the visual component, consciousness. There is nothing that is not consciousness. Consciousness is all that is appearing.
I'll just need to change. Maybe a change in metaphor for me, less technical. Try and bring some life.
Leave something out of the equation rather than bring it into the singularity that it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's all consciousness, every level, from your personal level to the level of the consciousness cells composing that body right there in front of me.
So is that what they mean by love yourself? You got to love yourself. Love yourself first. Is that what they mean by that? Just gonna love yourself. I don't know.
Your whole self
Mm.
through every dimensional structure. This is just the one dimensional and two dimensional structure of yourself. But it's a one
So
dimensional consciousness. It's a two-dimensional consciousness. And yours is the third dimensional consciousness that oversees them.
mm-hmm.